you're not going to go through an Ironman. You're not going to sit there and chew this on the bike. It's horrible. It's not fun to do.
Oh, no.
You're going to do your best to, because it's a really good way of getting fibre and all sorts into your body there. But this, you tear it open, you squeeze it, and it's got all the carbohydrate you need and all the electrolytes you need. You don't have to chew it or anything like that. That's the idea of an energy gel. And it just gets straight down into your intestine where you can digest the carbs and start using them most effectively.
Right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Chatzzz. Aaron, we had a very, very special guest today. Jack, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. A little bit nervous. Never done this before, but let's give it a shot.
Well, I've just been on a lovely tour around the warehouse as well, haven't I?
Yeah. A really, really exciting warehouse. Dusty. Sets falling down must be tough. Yeah.
No, but I was thinking it's cool just like having something tangible, something real. Yeah, the stuff we do is like all like digital, isn't it? So at least you can go and feel the product. And just...
Yeah. I think it's just a good chance for you to kind of see the way we work. You know, sort of ended up as this e-commerce business where everything is sort of picked, packed, and dispatched in the same warehouse. So let's get you down there and see.
That's cool. So I think we really got in contact. Was it a month or two ago? Was it a couple of months ago? Maybe now.
Yeah, a good while ago. I think. Yeah.
Through, I reckon Kieran probably introduced us properly, didn't he? Kieran was the
friend of a friend.
Yes. Here we are. So what I want to do is get you to introduce yourself to the viewers and the listeners. If you meet someone for the first time, how do you introduce yourself? That isn't just, hi, I'm Jack. People struggle with this as well. I always put them on the spot.
Well, hi, I'm Jack.
Which most normal people would do.
I mean, it's hard because the business becomes your life, doesn't it? But yeah, I'm Jack. Pretty into my sports, really into my fitness and swimming. My business is my passion above anything else. Love traveling around. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So let's go into the 3 facts then. So you prepared this morning, the 3 facts.
About 5 minutes before you got here. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I've kind of mentioned one there. It is hard to come up with facts for yourself, but probably starting from a less interesting one, a slightly boring one. I was a competitive swimmer when I was younger. That's kind of where my sports background came from, my interest and my passion in this. And my competitive swimming, I was sort of top 5 in the country for a long time until I discovered socializing. So yeah, that's my first one.
How did you get into the swimming then? Was it just from a young age, like doing swimming lessons and stuff, and you thought you were good? Or?
Actually, my father and my grandfather were both very good swimmers, and I was had pretty severe asthma when I was younger, and it was something recommended by the doctor. So my parents put me into swimming. I stuck at it when I was very young for a long time, just doing your typical swimming lessons, moving up the age groups, and then eventually got to a point when I was quite a lot faster than everyone, and got moved over to the swimming club, started swimming competitively, stuck at it for a while, and just gradually over time, I think I had the advantage of height. Maybe a little bit of natural advantage from my family. And yeah, I never took it too seriously, as those who are in the swimming community I used to train with will know. But yeah, and I followed it through till I was about 16, 17 and just sort of decided it wasn't really wanting to do long term.
Yeah. That's cool. What was your kind of, is it stroke? Or?
Yeah, that's it. You can call it. Yeah. My event or my stroke. It's the 100-meter breaststroke was my number one, and shorter distance stuff. I'd like to say I'm a sprinter, but it's probably because I was a little bit too lazy. I didn't like to go much further, and I got bored pretty quickly following that same line up and down a pool all the time for more than 4 lengths. So 100 breaststroke, I took that to nationals and British champs, and there was one year, some of the final year of it, when the British champs was tied in with the 2012 qualification event. So the Olympics, which was really interesting. That's sort of, in that last year is probably where I sort of peaked there.
That's cool. That's interesting. I never used to like breaststroke.
No, not really too slow. Yeah, it's a bit stop-start.
Yeah.
It's not great for your back either, as I'm finding out now.
Right, second fact then.
Bit of a weird one. I'm actually the owner of a Blue Peter badge. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I used to love Blue Peter when I was growing up.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not very exciting. I was a runner-up in a competition and wanted to win one of those chopper bikes when they were still a thing. They are a thing again now. But yeah, I was a runner-up in that. They sent me one of the posts. Probably a bit of a pity thing. But yeah, so I don't know if it still works now, but apparently they get free entry to all sorts of different attractions and things. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. So what was the competition? Was it just literally enter and to win the bike? Or?
You had to draw. I think you had to draw the bike. I was quite into my design and stuff when I was younger. Obviously my drawing wasn't up to scratch. Runner-up.
Second best.
Yeah.
And the third fact?
It kind of ties in with the first one. Again, the 5 minutes I had before you arrived, I Googled interesting facts about yourself to mention. Biggest fear. Ironically, my biggest fear is probably drowning, although I'm a swimmer. Yeah, so there you go, that's my third fact.
Where does that count? Because obviously, like, being a competitive swimmer and then drowning, you think you'd...
Maybe that's what makes me swim faster. Who knows? Yeah, it could be.
So, like, would you ever go into the sea then? You just stick to the pool?
No,
or?
I'm fine. And I know my family ever see this, they'll mean the same thing. If I was getting in a pool when I was younger and there was a dolphin in the tiles or something, I'd have to tell my dad, stand on its head and its tail, don't let it move. I was still pretty young at this point. I wasn't like 13, 14.
Yeah, when you were 16, 17, the Olympics.
And I never really liked open water. Just the idea of not knowing what's underneath you. I mean, I don't care so much now, but yeah.
It's quite scary though, isn't it? Thinking about like what is down there. Because like I love sharks.
Yeah.
Like shark TikToks and stuff. I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Scuba Dan. Oh, his TikToks are amazing. But it is like...
Shout out Scuba Dan.
But it's like when you jump in, like he obviously knows the crack and stuff when he goes down there. But seeing all like the fishes and the animals and you think, that's just what we know's there. It's so deep.
Have you ever been? What, scuba diving?
Nah, I'd love to. Or like even that shark cage diving or something.
I don't know if I could do that. Trapped in a cage and then underwater. But scuba diving I love. I've been very lucky to do it when I was younger, on holiday with my family and things. And I've not done it since, to be honest. So it's not a cheap sport to get into. I don't think it's quite a difficult one. But yeah, absolutely love it.
What kind of stuff did you see when you went there?
Octopus, every fish you can imagine. We were in the Red Sea in Egypt the first time. And actually the second day we did it, my mother and sister aren't so much into this kind of stuff. They didn't do the sort of, we did the course, the PADI diving course. So the second day we did something we all could do. And we went snorkeling. And because I was a swimmer, a pretty good swimmer at the time, you could hold your breath for a pretty long time. Got down, had the dive watch on. It was somewhere between 30 and 40 meters deep, just free diving with the snorkel on. And at that point, I didn't know I'd seen one. It was a white-tip shark. It's on the edge of this reef that we were diving down off the side of. Mm-hmm. And I just looked up for a second to get the picture to see how deep it was. It's on Facebook somewhere. And the instructor at the top, or the guide, whatever you want to call him, was like making this face. And then I got to the top and he went, did you see? Because I noticed there was a shadow behind me at the time. I just thought, it's probably a fish or something. And there's a white-tip shark just swimming past me. And he really carefully gets everybody back onto the boat, trying to stay calm. And then once he gets everybody on the boat, he tells us what it is.
Yeah. That's from
some shark as well. That was cool. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I love sharks. Yeah. Right. So let's talk about what you were like growing up then. As a kid, any first memories, what you enjoyed and that kind of thing, roll back the years. What were you like?
Gosh, it's hard to answer that for yourself.
What would your mum and dad say you were like?
I was probably the very quiet one, the nervous one, not incredibly academic at all. And to be honest, not that sporty. It took a while to sort of discover the swimming side of things. And I was always tall. I was the tall one. I was the one who got bullied for being lanky. I hate the word.
That's stuck with you.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and then sort of, I guess, as I grew up and I got a bit stronger, a bit taller, that kind of worked to my advantage and grew a bit of confidence through the sport and through school and things. Always had an interest in, I suppose this kind of leads into where we are today a little bit, but always had an interest in both design, because my granddad was an architectural designer, and then the food industry, because my family had been in the food industry for 30 odd years. So I was always sort of torn between that and what I was interested in. Went through secondary school with the competitive swimming side kind of took over my life. Probably, I would say my grades and things suffered a little bit because of the time that takes. And then, sort of moving on into sixth form and then university, that's when I became really interested in design. I sort of decided that what I was going to study was architectural engineering. So I went away and studied that for 4 years. Did a placement year for that as well in Manchester. Great place to work. But the job just wasn't for me, being sat in front of the screen designing all day. It wasn't what I imagined at all. Came back and worked in the factory and in the warehouse at my family's business. And then did a little bit of traveling too with the money I saved. And then sort of on final year and into my sort of first year post-university, I figured out really wasn't what I wanted to do. And this idea had been thrown around for a long time. That's when I kind of said to my family, look, let's give it a shot. I'll give it my best shot for you. But yeah, God, I've just summarised my whole life in a few minutes. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Podcast over. So I was like, let's roll back to say when you grew up, you said you were quite quiet and nervous then, and then you got that confidence when you really started being more sporty and stuff. I think sport's such like an important thing, isn't it? Or like being part of a team or a club, isn't it?
I think part of your development, Kramer, definitely. I'm a swimming coach as well at the local swimming club at the moment. And I think being part of something competitive, you learn those skills working within a team. Although swimming's not such a team sport, you learn how to deal with losing, and you also learn how to win in the right way. And definitely taught me a lot. So it did help my confidence for sure.
Yeah, because it's hard going through school, isn't it? Like you're saying, people picking on you for being tall. Like there's no filter for kids, is it, at all? Like there's no they don't give a fuck at all.
When you get to our age, you start to realise, God, we were real. We're brutal to each other.
Yes. But like at school, I feel like everyone just wants to conform and be the same, don't they?
Yeah.
They like fit in. But then when you leave school,
it's the different ones who you seem to get rid of.
Yeah, and you look back and you think maybe, I wonder what them people who were like being the bullies or trying to be the same are doing right now. And,
I don't know. It's no hard feelings, any of them.
No, exactly.
Hope they've done well.
Yes. Yeah. And then going through school, then like you say, you wanted to do architectural engineering.
That's right. Yeah.
At uni.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that? Was it just like from your family? Or?
Yeah. I think I probably should step back a little bit because we both ended up at the same school for a period. I think I joined as you left. I know.
Were you the year above me?
The year above. That's right. Yeah.
And what year did you join?
Started joining in 2012.
What school year was that?
That would be sixth form the first year of sixth form.
So I would have been year 11 then, yeah.
Right, okay.
So fifth form, yeah. So that would have been there the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have been around the same time.
Yeah, we did go to the same school for a year.
Yeah, there we go.
Because I left before sixth form. I went to William Howard for sixth form.
Yeah. And I'd moved from another school to Fry. So I see you'll know the teacher I'm talking about, and I won't mention any names. Great teacher, head of geography, also head of sixth form for a good period.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Loved geography too. He helped me get into the position I was at university. I went to Loughborough University. Really helped me get there with that. And the swimming was the main reason I applied for Loughborough University. But I'd also seen the architectural courses, the design courses and the engineering courses they do, and all looked brilliant. So sort of what I decided to do was solidify my place and apply for deferred entry. So within that year that I took deferred, I changed my mind. So I thought, right, okay, well, I'm in there for geography. This course looks brilliant. Architecture, engineering and design management, one of the longest course names you can think of. So during that period of time when I was away working, traveling, saving up a lot of money mostly, I decided to switch to that.
Yeah. Did you? So why did you move to sixth form then? Why did you straight? I'm just asking.
Probably it's a combination of things. It was a great school that I was at. It was a grammar school. It was the academic side of things was great, but I think if you weren't an academic so much, which I wasn't particularly, and you didn't conform to that, you were slightly lost in the mix. And I was still very into my swimming. And although the teachers maybe wanted to support that, it doesn't have a pool or anything like that. So I got a number of scholarships to other schools up and down the country for the swimming. And I turned them down because I wanted to be closer to home. I had a girlfriend at the time. You know how it is.
The girls.
It is. They throw you off. Stay clear. No. Yeah. So it was the best sort of combination of the two, being a little bit close to home, but having more time because I had to travel a lot from my previous school, not having to travel as much so I could focus on my training, but also to really sort of improve my sort of academic side of things, improve my grades. And it just seemed like a great school. So.
Yeah. So then you chose to get deferred entry then.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going obviously a year after you meant to be going. So what was the plan in that year?
It was there really because I wasn't entirely sure. And I still don't believe that. I don't believe universities are be all and end all. I mean, look where I am now. I'm not doing anything related to my degree. And I was always, I didn't know whether I wanted to do something more practical. And I wanted to maybe give it a chance to focus more on my training whilst working and sort of travel around a bit. Yeah, just really figuring out where I was. I don't see it as a waste, it's not a waste of my year at all, because it got me into the degree I was in instead of doing geography. Yeah, gave me a bit of a chance to think really of anything else.
It is hard though, like at 18, isn't it, to know what you want to do? Like say you change your mind in that year's timeline.
What did you do? What were you? I'm going to put this podcast
I did hospitality and events management. So I wanted to go and do events because I like festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
But my dad was saying, don't just do events because you'll limit yourself to one thing, do a couple of things. Mm-hmm. And my mum, back in the day, used to be a careers advisor. She was like researching the courses and do hospitality and events. Went to uni to do that. Hate the events because of like all the health and safety and the legal stuff. But I was working for the events company, like nightclub events and promotions and stuff at uni. Did my placement year at the North Lakes Hotel in Penrith.
Yeah.
Hotels. Was going to go and work in hotels. Got like 2 graduate schemes. Going to finish, pied them off. Went to work for the events company and then set up my own events company after I left there, and then set up my own marketing agency and then stopped doing the events. That's my life story in 30 seconds.
Well, it just shows you.
That's what I
You
mean.
never really know. It happens for a reason in the end, doesn't it?
I think a lot of people like these days, I don't know, you said that your family been in the food industry for like 30 years or whatever. We say like my dad's been an accountant for 40 odd years, you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like these days it wouldn't happen because people change, don't they? And they adapt and they evolve because everything moves so fast and so quick. You have to be on to the next thing, or people are happy to change the job or change the career.
Yeah,
with a hat, because you can learn skills so quickly.
Yeah. I think we're fortunate to live in a society where that's possible. Jumping jobs isn't necessarily a bad thing, or changing careers, whether it's for more money or just for more time. It seems to be a much more acceptable thing now, which is great, really. Maybe not so great for employers and things, but you can understand why. So,
because I don't know about you, but I get the question quite a bit, and they say, "Do you think you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life?" And I say, "Well, yeah, I think I'll be doing marketing." But like, think when I was, when we were like 10 years ago, my job didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Like even a few years ago, you've put yourself there.
Yeah. And then in another 10 years, probably TikTok and Facebook will be non-existent. There'll be somebody else.
Or 10 other social media channels. So who knows? Maybe there's just one social media channel for everything. But hey,
that'd be a lot easier.
Another conversation. Yeah.
So then going to uni, then what was your experience like at uni?
Great. Yeah, I had the time of my life. I mean, the course that I studied did require a lot of time, a lot of commitment. And I certainly had friends all over the place. And we certainly had, I know you'll probably say the same thing, a lot of friends who went to university in places like Newcastle, Northumbria, no hard feelings towards at all, but they got a lot more free time on certain courses they were doing just because of the way it was structured. There's a lot more practical work of what we do. And I did feel a little bit out of place with that as well, but you had to work hard right through from first year, whereas, a lot of the time first year is like
40%.
Exactly. Maybe didn't see it that way, but yeah, it definitely helped me grow, really helped me academically. Everybody who's been there and done it far too many days, sat in a library right through the night, pulling all-nighters, all that kind of stuff. Still was into my sports, did swimming for this is a whole other story, but I swam there for about 6 weeks, and I was kicked off the team because of a combination of an injury I had in my back that couldn't really be supported by them. I'm not so interested, but that kind of helped me discover other things. Got really into cycling, really developed a great group of friends and stuff there. And for university, then did that placement year I mentioned earlier, which gave me a good taste of things where I wanted to be as well. And I don't know if this is maybe just something I've inherited as well. I want to work for myself. I want to create something, build something, leave something behind. And it kind of helped me understand that I don't want to be sat in an office working for someone else. I can see the appeal to that because you maybe get a lot more free time and freedom to do things. But yeah, so that helped me do that. Went through into my final year, did the best I could in my final year, and then that's when this sort of all came about.
So what was the plan then when you were taking? Because like, say a lot of people, even including myself, I was thinking, I need to get a graduate scheme, whatever, applying for all these things. I was quite lucky that the hotel company I worked for, they had multiple hotels. I was going to go and work in their other hotels and stuff, but then I had that off and was going to go work for Marriott and then just went and worked for the events company. But what was your thought process? Was it try and get a job, or was it literally speaking to your family and saying, I want to start my own thing, or what?
This whole concept of this current business had been thrown around for a long time, and I was always really interested. I maybe didn't let on enough how interested I was. But post-university, I did all sorts of like ad hoc work for other people, whether it was like drawing up plans on a mission for industrial stuff. Because what I focused on when I was in my placement year was big industrial stuff, like whether it was warehousing, like biomass plants, all that kind of stuff. Quite interesting. A little bit repetitive sometimes, but because I'd got that experience, that's what I did as soon as I came out. And I could make a little bit of money here and there to keep me going. But yeah, and I applied for a number of different jobs. A few of them asked for interviews and things, went through the process, and then I kind of slowed down a little bit because talks around this were getting more interesting. And eventually just number of conversations really, but eventually sat down with my father, who's the sort of the other half of this business and the ideas behind it and kind of what's got it started here, and said, look, if you want to run with this idea, I want to run with it too. And I'll just throw everything I've got at it. So let's give it a shot. Where do we start? How can we start?
Yes. So you say that it was in talks for a while then, or you'd been thinking about it for longer than you thought and that kind of thing. So what was like the initial thought, or what were the initial ideas before you obviously put it into action or got the ball
For the
officially rolling?
business?
Yeah. What did you have in mind?
I would say probably, or what are we now, 2023? So the first talks, I think, were back maybe 2012, 2013, so even whilst I was still at school.
Really?
It kind of goes back. I'm probably going to end up going into the whole story here, but I'll explain it.
It's your
as best I can.
podcast.
Well, it's your podcast, really. Mate. So Kendal Mint Cake, first of all, the Kendal Mint Company, in case you hadn't picked that out. Kendal Mint Cake, the product, is that sort of classic tourist treat now where you come here to the Lake District. Always loved it as a kid. My family always loved it. It's something where if I was at university, I would mention that's from the Lake District, and like one of my friends were into hiking and things. They mentioned Kendal Mint Cake or something.
I had it the other day on the walk. Them little things, yeah. Having Chris from Newcastle Les bought like £30 worth and gave him to all the team.
Oh, I shouldn't suddenly helped you out. Yeah, it kind of started off the back of top. So family are in the food industry, my family anyway. I think Kendal Mint Cake, this sort of classic product, went up Everest. It's sort of the way we see it. It's the first energy bar. You know, a lot of people talk about Mars bar being that sort of product initially and marathon bars. But really, if you go right back, it's pretty much the first energy bar that was taken up Everest. And one of the families who make Kendal Mint Cake, there's a number of families who make it. They're all long-standing families, been around for hundreds of years. One of the families my father had approached previously and put some sort of intellectual property stuff down with them. Just like, how can we work with you? And I want to get involved and bring this in the 21st century. And his first idea is, well, I think the natural progression of the original energy bar is to take it into sports nutrition and use it for what it's meant for. And that's kind of with the Kendal Mint Cake energy gel, if you like. Yeah, so that idea was thrown around for a while and they were really interested. But unfortunately, this particular Kendal Mint Cake business got into a lot of financial difficulty and did close down for a period of time. So I think that maybe helped us shaft it a little bit. Although the gentleman who his family business was still really involved for a while and came up with a number of meetings around building the brand and things. What actually ended up happening is we ended up with a different Kendal Mint Cake family who are even older again. They're all the old age and they're all very well connected. Yeah. And sort of, that's the way this works. We are a separate business, but we're partners with the original, or the oldest, should I say, Kendal Mint Cake manufacturers, and all the Kendal Mint Cake bars you buy from us are still made the same traditional way. So that kind of got us to that point. We found the right people to be with. We didn't want to take away from that heritage and the long-standing family history. We didn't want to just barge in and be like, oh, we're Kendal Mint Company. You know, we wanted to make sure we still supported, again, coming from that family business background, another local company. So it got them involved. And then, we kind of started developing ideas and concepts. We had a great branding company. Shout out to them, actually. Headley McEwen over in Newcastle. Fantastic company to work with. I think they've just recently changed names, actually. And that's when it kind of brings it to life at that point. Since although we could develop the products because food manufacturing is what the family did, that was the easy part. Actually understanding how this product was going to look, its branding, the way they look and feel, and finally getting something in front of you visually, or start to bring it to life. And that's when we sort of developed the logo and the product, a couple of product designs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Branding is so important though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like just stand out to somebody on your screen or, like you say, in person.
Yeah.
People's attention spans are just like that, aren't they?
They certainly are now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that sounds like quite a long process, wasn't it? Like you say, going from the first family to thinking, oh, it's not going to happen, then to the next family, and then bringing it all to life. So what year did it all get brought to life then?
So we had the final products, the designs, the business structure together in the back end of 2018. We had everything ready to go, everything scheduled in for a date that was in May that lined up with a local outdoor festival called Keswick Mountain Festival. They do all sorts of trail running events and different things from there. And we plan to launch there. So to start with, we kind of came through with, we had 3 different flavor energy gels. And then we probably wanted it a bit too top heavy. Perhaps in hindsight, we should have launched a product line at a time and sort of drip them in as the proof of concept became a reality. We launched with sort of a full range of before, during, and after sports nutrition, these high energy products with some recovery products. I've got a protein recovery. We had those at the show and the feedback was fantastic. Absolutely stormed the show. We had like a rowing competition out the front. I'd never done any of this in my life. Like you've done it all before, these kind of events and things, but chaotic, but brilliant. So really good start to the business there.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? What was the feeling like then before that first launch event then? Were you nervous, apprehensive, excited, all of the above? Or were you just thinking, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, and not really thinking of what was going on? You're just in the moment, or what?
I think at this point we had a very, very good thought out plan. But yeah, I think whenever I sought advice, it was just like, I'd go to my father and go, well, how am I going to pitch these products to customers? How am I going to sell these products? And actually, at the end of the day, the products sell themselves. You just got to get them to taste them and so on and try them out. But his advice was just got to give it a go. You just got to try. So it was more just like, yeah, you do your research and you find out how to. I'd never spoken to people in a sales pitch sort of. I've never tried to sell to people really at all. Whenever I've done stuff, it's about clients understanding designs and things previously. But yeah, there was a lot of preparation, a lot of strength behind the brand and things anyway, which really helped. And having somebody with the experience to lean on. And when we launched, we had a lot of people with us. We had a big team of people. We got the whole branding team down. We got the local manufacturers down. We've got friends, family. We probably had about 6 people in this tiny little 3x3 meter stand, handing out samples to everyone and anyone, which is good fun.
Yeah. So then, what was it like then coming away from that first event? Because obviously, I'd imagine you didn't know what to expect. You'd done it before. You didn't know what the feedback was going to be, and obviously having the good feedback and stuff, it must have been a good lift for you. But walking away and thinking, all right, we can kick on from there.
Yeah, it was an interesting one because the way we were set up, we made sure that we were already available on Amazon and Amazon Prime. So, God, that was it. That was a real rush. I don't know how we managed to turn that around quickly, but about 3 days before the event, we managed to send off everything to Amazon FBA, and still a lot of the listings and products online were not 100%. But it meant that when we were in this event, we could come back to something that had already got a little bit of traction. It's only a small event, 20,000 people or so. But really from then on, it was like, we've got to bash on now, get as much brand awareness out as we can and market it. But then sell.
Mm-hmm.
Get in touch with as many shops as possible, local, national, build our website sales. It was really just, to be honest, a bit of a blur, and had a very good friend of mine who was part of the business for a while at the start and made some really good connections there. We got a good number of shops and clients and stuff, which are still here today.
Mm-hmm.
But then not too far into it, the dreaded C word decided to drop.
It's such a big part of everyone's business journey, isn't it?
It was COVID-19. Yeah. So we're sort of 6 to 9 months in, and here we are with this brand new brand, this brand new product range. And it sounds like a sob story, this, but if anything, it's made us so much better and so much stronger now, more resilient to things. But there we are, sat with thousands of products, brand new, not everybody's tried yet. All these events that we're going to go and sample and give people a chance to try them out, cancelled. And we ended up just stuck with a warehouse. We ran as many clearance promotions as we could, which wasn't a great start for the brand because you wanted people to understand the value of the product rather than just dishing it out as cheap as possible. But we ended up with a warehouse with pallets and pallets of waste, sadly, which I don't like to think about now. But,
So what was COVID like? Because obviously this year is probably the first year that nobody's really been affected by it, isn't it? It was the start of last year still. So that's wear masks and get tests and all that kind of stuff. So them 2-ish years or so after you've just started the brand, what did you kind of learn, and what was your kind of like take-ins from that? Would you like to say be more resilient and come out of there like a bigger and better business?
Yeah, well, so firstly, I probably wouldn't say bigger to start with at all, because after COVID hit it knocked us for 6, and as much as we got a lot of help from the government, people were really supportive and things, but we had a limited, and just being completely open and honest here, I have a debt essentially to my father, which has been lent to us, and that was it. There was never going to be any more funding until potentially at some point we might raise capital and do something in the future, who knows? But that was what we had. So we had to make do of every penny or bit of stock that we could still sell off to rebuild and start from there. So we started up here with this great bit of investment and this whole set of products, and then COVID hits, and then we're right back here. We've got to somehow build this brand back up and build it into a point in which it's paying for itself too, because that bit of investment would have given us a run rate, if we'd at least ticked over for a little while during COVID, a little run rate of a couple of years at least. So it was kind of, I would also say a lot of things boomed during COVID. There's a period of going back now, there's a few things happened. Like we just got Holland & Barrett, and we were in 800 and something stores across the UK, the biggest sale we've ever made. And that was 2 weeks before COVID hit. And they have these things in called exit agreements. So it's like either you pay 50% of the product and they throw it out, so that you pay 50% of the value, or they can return it to you. And if they return it to us, it's out of date. We refund them and we hadn't planned for any of that. And thankfully, having the experience father who dealt with all these kind of, with the greatest respect, monstrous corporations that have these agreements in place really helped me sort of guide that. So we kind of managed that. And then, yeah, it ended up just being, a few people were furloughed and things. We had a good team of people. We kind of ticked over for a while, really put some heavy clearance sales and stuff on and pushed through. But to be honest with you, it just ended up being me in here all the time, just going into the warehouse, packing the boxes myself and taking orders, dealing with customers and things and helping grow the brand. And then, yeah, we just kind of built up from there, really, really gradually. Yeah, really gradually.
So then coming out that period then, obviously events started happening, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
Was there any events that actually went on during COVID then? To the outdoors or just a lot of them just cancelled because of safety and stuff?
There was a few, like your cycling events, running events and stuff, but they didn't really have any sort of, what you tend to have as a brand when you go to these events is, let's say it's an outdoor one. You've got a number of tents and stuff on the start finish line. You have this sort of event area at the end, finish. None of that was going on because of COVID. And also the other issues is these are products that want people to taste and try. They've got to be able to pick them up with their hands and sample them, which obviously you can't do at the time. So yeah, but a number of events did start happening. You know, we've been through this difficult period, got a bit of a team together. And then I think the first one we went to was the National Running Show down at the NEC, which was the biggest event we'd ever done. That was fantastic. We still had a bit of stuff that we needed to clear off, to try and rebuild ourselves, regroup, but we sold out. That event was brilliant. First time that a real core group of running enthusiasts got a chance to try this product outside of just the Lake District. So that one was brilliant. That really got us started. And then we just gradually started building more and more events in, and then, yeah, building at the website and so on. We sort of got, when I go back to the start, we really went heavy after that first event, Keswick Mountain Festival, went heavy on trying to speak to shops and set up partnerships with shops and wholesale. And we sort of were forced into that e-commerce online presence, so which helped, to be fair.
I imagine, like you say, it's a big thing to get people to try them and test them, like you're saying, that the products sell themselves, isn't it? To get in front of those people at those events, so there's so many people there.
Yeah. And
they try them and then they're like, oh, they're decent. Let's try and find them online, isn't it?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Because e-commerce is crazy, isn't it? Like you mentioned about Amazon and stuff. You obviously got your own website, Amazon, and it's just, yeah, it's just where you need to be, isn't it, really, these days?
It's a minefield. Yeah, it's a minefield. It's sort of, again, Amazon is you just have to accept Amazon for what it is.
They take silly fees, don't they? Like 20% or something.
Yeah, they take everything from you they can. You know, you gradually find a run rate and you find sort of a margin that works for you. Because at the end of the day, it means your customers have access to your products in a way that people expect. It's like, you're on Amazon, no, why not? That's where I buy everything. Plus I get free delivery next day. So they can provide something and you can't. So you just have to sort of bite the bullet, do it. Yeah, e-commerce is a bit of a minefield, and I think hadn't we been forced into it, we wouldn't be in the position we're in today.
So what was kind of like the learnings from trying to get in all the shops and then the e-commerce? Was it what you expected, or was it what you hoped for? Was that in the plan, or how did you have to like adapt? And
it was one of those where it's like you set up and you see this as like they're fairly retailable products. So I mean, the first thing we did discover was, this is probably important for understanding why we're where we are, is that you put a gel on a shelf in a shop, you maybe sell, let's say you sell half as many gels as you would like a little snack bar, like these ones we do now. So we're used to, a little bit of background, we're used to selling food to go products that you'd see in the meal deal section, big supermarkets and things, so the family business previously. That just sort of sells. It's not the kind of product that works for, so it gets, sometimes if it's not the right shop, not the right place, not the right footfall, it would end up sort of sat there. So we went in with this idea of, this needs to be on shelves and shops everywhere, especially in the Lake District. But it's a little bit, some of the products are a little bit niche for that. Not anymore. We've grown, we've strengthened the product lineup, and some of them sell like this tomorrow, and shops love it. But the website was like one of these things where we're like, well, we're going to focus on that, but the website, we just need to have a website. I feel that's just what you do. We've got to have a website.
Just so you're all professional and official.
Yeah, so people can find you. And there was a big focus as well. The website previously was set up as like, I think it was like at the top of the website, it was like home, our story, become a stockist, and then shop was at the end. Yeah. So it wasn't that clear. But yeah, that's it. It's just for some reason we set it like that. But yeah, then eventually we realised that was the core part of the business. Sure. Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like you say, that you've got to be agile, haven't you, and flexible, and just go with it in business, because what you may expect that you plan for isn't going to be maybe the way you're going to go in that kind of direction.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still young. We're still inexperienced compared to most people. But yeah, I can already say that it doesn't matter how much planning you put in, it never quite goes exactly the way you expect it to.
Definitely.
You learn.
Yeah, exactly. So then these events, I know you do a bit of sponsorships, don't you, for athletes and stuff like that, do you?
Yeah.
Why is that important to you, or how did that kind of come about?
Yeah, so we always said, we're a Cumbrian business. It was like, well, best way to go about this. And actually the Lake District is like a playground for the biggest outdoor and like adventure enthusiasts in the UK, if not in, some people from all over the world come here too.
Mm.
So we're going to support local, we're going to support these athletes. We put a little team together. We called them Team KMC. Still got a number of them that. And they kind of came on more as ambassadors to start with, help us promote the brand. And in return, we'd send them samples and help them out with events and stuff and some kit and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, if you're not, if you can't make it to all these events as a brand, at least you've got people competing there too. People talking about it. The power of word of mouth, as I've learned, is much more powerful than, for example, sticking some advertisement on social media.
Oh yeah, it pains me to say that. I say to everyone, even that I do social media for my job, word of mouth is the most powerful marketing, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
So
if like say, I don't know, one of my friends or my family used to say, oh, you need to try this, or you need to do this, you need to do that, I'd be more inclined to do that than if I saw, like, say, a Facebook ad or something like that, or a TikTok.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you don't trust what you see on social media, really. I don't really. Actually, stepping back, all this digital marketing and stuff we do, it's great, it works well. But if I stop and think for myself, am I going to stop and click on that and maybe think about even trying this product? I'm far, far more likely if somebody has that around me when I'm at an event, and they're like, oh yeah, these guys actually support me, and here, have a taste of this. Far, far more likely to go, actually, that's pretty good stuff, that. Might give it a shot. But yeah, so we have that sort of little team with them. We have this we have a good number of athletes where we give them a significant amount more support, because especially the kind of stuff that they do, like Ironman events, triathlon events, that kind of stuff, they've got a job at the same time, and having to buy your nutrition or something can cost you in excess of thousands sometimes per year. So we really support a number of those. Maybe only 4 or 5 at the moment. It's reduced slightly. But the idea behind that really is to, again, most of them local, people that we know well, get them on podiums. Want to see the old Kendal Archer on podiums. No pressure, guys. There's absolutely no pressure there at all. They're still out there at these elite events. They're still out there at these events.
That's why you've got less athletes now, because they haven't been on podiums at the being sacked.
No, it's just sort of happened naturally, to be fair. I'm not that brutal at all. In fact, we're probably very laid back compared to like big brands in the same sector as us. Yeah, and a lot of them are actually friends that you kind of developed. In fact, I've just got one recently that I used to train with when I was younger swimming. He's a great triathlete now, and he's just away to an Ironman event who we support there. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Like you say, isn't it? It's about brand awareness, the brand being seen everywhere, and yeah, just getting it out there. Because what kind of products would you say you support them with, or what's like popular, say, for the people who do the Ironman or the triathletes?
Got all sorts, really. It all comes down to personal preference. And like coming into this, again, did all the research we possibly could. Still inexperienced back then. Probably didn't appreciate this enough. But for example, the original idea was to just come out with an energy gel as some sort of natural evolution of the Kendal Mint Co energy bar. And actually that doesn't cater for everyone at all. So you're pretty serious athletes. What they're really looking for, we always think about it this way. They start off eating solid and you finish off with liquids. That's basically because as you go through an event, not only does it become more difficult to eat and take on the calories because your body demands it, especially at these Ironman events or ultras and so on, it's harder and harder to digest because your body starts to move all the blood and liquid to where it's needed. That's in your muscles where you're using it. So your digestive system is impacted instantly. So this sort of generally, you're looking at, grab a few of these, obviously you've got to eat pretty good, healthy breakfast or lunch, whatever time of day it is before. But you start with something sort of solid with your energy bars. And you may have like a nice tonic powder in your drink, which has got a good number of carbohydrate in there too. All 4 different electrolytes that help with hydration. And then you start really topping yourself up with gels. Some people just use gels from the start because the idea that the reason they're good originally is because it's functional, right? You're not going to go through an Ironman. You're not going to sit there and chew this on the bike. It's horrible. It's not fun to do. You're going to do your best to, because it's a really good way of getting fiber and all sorts into your body there. But this, you tear it open, you squeeze it, Yeah, it's got all the carbohydrate you need and all the electrolytes you need. You don't have to chew it or anything like that. That's the idea of an energy gel. And it just gets straight down into your intestine where you can digest the carbs and start using them most effectively. Yeah, so I tend to use a bit of a combination of products. And then more towards the end of the race, you quite literally can't stomach. If you really go through it, you can't stomach most things. You do your best to, but you end up just using what you can out of your drink.
Yeah.
They call a lot of people call Ironmans and Ultras it's basically like a 24-hour buffet, or I should say more like an 8 to 10 hour buffet.
Just consuming calories.
Yeah, you just got to shovel it in where you can and the best way you can. Yeah,
that's true. That does make a lot of sense. Like I wouldn't have thought of that before you said it, but when you say it, it does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because like when you're running or whatever, there's no chance you'll be able to eat that.
Yeah.
That bar.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
that'd be a great bit of content though.
it would be
just do a video of people trying to run and eat.
Like the people think it's absolutely disgusting, isn't it? But yeah, the gels are so easy. Like the isotonic stuff, it's good. I can relate to when you used to play football and stuff. But yeah. So what is the plans moving forward then for the business? Then what's kind of next for you? What's in the plan? What's in the pipeline?
Sort of from a purely business perspective, we've had a good year. You know, we've built up from COVID. We've almost regained our losses. It's like we're pretty much there. And it's been a year of consolidation. So we haven't tried to confuse things anymore. Previously, we've added new products again and again to the range throughout the year. We've tried to make the best out of what we've got now and improve things, efficiency more than anything. So moving forwards, we're looking at diversifying the range a little bit and really, really focusing on the sustainability aspect. Yeah, that's just just a small example. But, you know, we first launched, we just had an all plastic water bottle, and you end up with those dropped by accident off the bike or going to landfill once they've had too much use and so on. Or, you know, an energy gel, somebody tears off a tab, they'll drop it on the floor by accident without even meaning to. This probably leads me into a good one, actually. So a lot of the events we've gone to and unsupported, you get, wherever we're giving these out for free, you see these tabs all over the floor, and straight away, actually me and my partner both just looked down, looked at each other and went, just can't do that. I can't let that happen. So I don't actually have one on me now. I have one of the flasks. So actually 2 years ago, and this is something we're going to really focus on moving forwards. 2 years ago, we developed a refillable version of energy gels. So what customers do now, it's cheaper for them and it's 70% less plastic for the big bulk sachet you buy, and then completely unlimited reuse of these. What a customer will do, they'll buy a big pouch of gel, and there'll be 10 serves of this inside this big bulk pouch, which they can just pour out and keep in the fridge. And then they just pour it into the flask and use as they need. So there's one serve up to that dotted line and 2 serves at the top. So it's kind of like one at the top. So I'm quite proud to say that we actually sell more in refillable than the single use now. So that's going to be a big focus, you know, improving that's what we're looking for. The next step is 100% recyclable and refillable ones. It's because at the moment they can only take them to supermarkets and recycle them there. And you can just recycle at home, and then the next phase from there is biodegradable and so on. So it's all in the plan. It's just having had to build up from this position we've been in to where we are now. There's a bit of time involved. Yeah, we've got some other interesting stuff on the horizon. You've probably been, and it's hard not to notice the likes of Prime.
We spoke about the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, big advantage with millions and millions of followers with their marketing. Really, really interested to just watch it blow up though. And it does give you a bit of inspiration for what's next, what are people interested in, what do people want to see.
Yes. Like hydration and energy, isn't it? And that kind of thing. Like people slag them off for all they want, won't they? But they're very good at marketing and what they do, aren't they? Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fantastic marketing. Hey, look, you might not like people, but kudos to the marketing. It's pretty phenomenal.
Everyone knows. Even my mum said to me yesterday, whatever, she was saying, I was in Aldi or somewhere else and they've got these massive things of Prime.
Yeah.
I was like,
they just wheel it in pallets in Aldi, don't they?
And they just go.
And to be fair, and we need to bring out a Kendal Mint version, I don't know. To be fair, when you look at their hydration drinks, it's got the right elements in it. Yeah. It's quite high on the salt side of things and the sodium side of things, which it's kind of a trend in the nutrition sector anyway at the moment. I'm not too sure on their energy drinks and things. I wouldn't be able to tell you, but the product as a hydration drink isn't bad at all. Yeah. So the product's pretty good.
I think, I don't know much about like that kind of industry, but I think there is kind of like a gap in the hydration market, whereas there seems to be a lot of energy drinks, specifically energy. But hydration, there doesn't seem to be that many. I don't know. That's my opinion.
I think they're big.
Looking at.
No, I actually agree completely, Adam. I think, you've got those who dominate the market, your Red Bull, Relentless, and so on.
Monster.
Yeah. And I think what they've done well is angled their drink as a hydration drink as a sort of healthy alternative. I actually don't know I don't think it does have caffeine in. You don't quote me on that. In their hydration ones, the big bottles.
No, they don't have caffeine.
But they've done well to angle it like that, because people are far, far more conscious of what they're putting in their bodies now. For example, all this stuff about sweeteners recently, that like the likes of Coke use being a carcinogenic and being added to the European sort of regular list of carcinogenics and that kind of stuff. People are far more conscious, and I think they've done that well. But there's also, you probably noticed as well, there was a big sort of hype around nootropics for a while, like things that help you focus.
Yeah.
And I think there's a gap somewhere there because being focused, you're exercising, you're training, whatever you're doing, competing. As you get dehydrated, you get tired, you lose your focus too. And losing your focus means you lose technique, coordination, all sorts of things. So it can really benefit you from a sports nutrition sort of physical performance side, being mentally with it. So I think there's a gap there for something that caters for both. So that's something we're looking into as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool, definitely.
Yeah.
Because like me personally, I don't really drink any caffeine unless like I have to. I had a Red Bull the other day when I was driving back from like Cardiff or something. But I don't know. I just don't enjoy it. I just try and stay away from it. But I know obviously some people love waking up and having a coffee and stuff.
Yeah.
I just feel like it helps me focus more, because I focus more on my sleep. Yeah. Rather than being like, because I've got this Whoop band thing and that tracks your sleep. It can be a good thing and a bad thing if you think you've had a good sleep or not.
Yeah.
But I just consciously think, all right, I need to go to bed now so I can have like a solid amount of sleep so I can wake up and be fresh tomorrow, rather than staying up later and working on my laptop and then getting up earlier and then just thinking, I need a nice drink or a coffee, and then I feel like worse.
Yeah. No, you can have a huge crash after caffeine. How many hours do you aim for then with you?
So last night, I try and go to bed like 10ish.
I think something that was built, that was kind of building to me when I was younger, because we'd always have morning training as well.
Yeah.
And having to get up at about 5:15, you knew that you needed to get 8 hours solid sleep to be able to train in the morning.
That's the thing though, like if I think I'm going to go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6, I'll only get like 7 hours extra sleep. You know what I mean? So last night I got 6 hours 50 actual sleep.
Rested for maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah, just say. So yeah, went to bed at 11, woke up at 20 past 6. So it's at like 7 hours 20. So maybe like half an hour difference.
Yeah.
But it tracks like, how long you awake for, you light sleep, you deep sleep, your REM sleep, and your sleep performance and stuff. Like my recovery was 77 and my sleep was 78% and stuff. Yeah. Which is like good. I'm not like an athlete or anything, but it just helps me for like,
maybe you've got a full
my job
and your own business to run. So yeah, no, I a lot of people I don't know, there's arguments for and against caffeine. There seems to be a few arguments more for caffeine recently. We have caffeine in only one of our products, the energy gels, and then we make our own coffee as well. We have it in coffee. I'm one of those who can't survive without coffee. Yeah. But I will limit myself to a coffee a day.
Just one?
Yeah.
Why just one then?
Again, just I will have a crash if I'm not careful. Yeah. You know, that sort of post-lunch crash. Yeah. If I have a coffee on top of my lunch, for example, I will then really, but then it'll be really quick high and then I crash straight after. But there's a lot of arguments for caffeine in sport.
Well, I think it's important for sport though. If I was an athlete, I'd be smashing it all the time.
It is an interesting fact we can drop in there as well. All the athletes already know about this one. A lot of them will opt for a black coffee or an espresso shot first thing in the morning because it actually helps clear out the stomach before they get going. Sounds terrible, but we've been at these events where all the portaloos have queues, people lining up, but they use it for that reason. And caffeine is actually scientifically proven to improve your endurance levels. It's not just a cognitive thing. If basically it improves how effectively your synapses can fire between each other, which means you can go for longer. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's got much more benefit than that. But there's arguments for and against.
Yeah, I'm just weird though. I don't drink alcohol, caffeine. I just drink water. Or Diet Coke and being a greasy.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's probably what we should all be striving for, let's be honest. Yeah.
Right, so let's go on. Oh, well, I want to ask you first, what do you think you've learned in running your own business? That's the thing, like we're obviously similar age and I love like talking to people who are similar ages and stuff like that because like there's nobody, I know obviously you've got your director, your father and stuff who helps you out and stuff, but there's nobody telling you what the right or wrong thing to do is. And like you say that you were inexperienced back in the day, but I think it's important that when you look back, you think, I didn't have a fucking clue then, but I know more now. Then hoping in a few more years, you think, I didn't have a clue like now in the years and stuff like that. Because like business for me is nothing I would expect it to be, because I think people from the outside looking in, think it's easy.
Oh, that's great.
But then,
yeah.
like, I think of how many shit days you have, shit weeks, shit months you've had, and you just have to keep on going and being like, it's relentless, isn't it? One day after the other, or like you're having like a great week or a great month or even a great year, and then everything happens at once, and then you think, fuck me, I just wish I had a normal job.
Yeah, it all just comes crashing in, doesn't it? It always happens at the same time.
Taught you about like cash flow or forecasting or budgeting and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing, or how to deal with customers or how to deal with clients and feedback and all that kind of shit. It is a lot. And I think people think it's easy. And when people have tried it that I've known and then given up after a few months, you think you're just not cut out for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to have that certain, I don't know, certain something or a certain mindset to just think like,
what's the stat again? 9 out of 10 startups fail.
Yeah,
and
like
that might be for a number of other reasons.
Yeah. But say even for me, for example, my first events business had a business partner that failed. My second, well, not that failed, but COVID happens. Well, technically failed, yeah. And then my second business was a marketing agency with my business partner.
Yep.
And then we split up. This is technically my third one on my own. You know what I mean? So like, it's not just the first thing that I've personally tried, but I'm glad I did it with someone to start off with and make the mistakes, and somebody was in it with me at the time, because nobody else, like at the moment, nobody else gets it like I get it in my business.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody else is in it with me, whereas I was in it with someone and they knew the struggles and the money issues and what we were doing and where we were going and what we were trying to do and stuff, which I'm glad I did, because if I did it on my own, maybe I would have given up and I didn't make all those mistakes with someone. But yeah, I was just interested to know, like,
do you think you've been more careful this time around, or have you just gone for it more? What?
I think this time round, just to say I've been on my own now for like just over 3 years.
Yeah.
It was COVID.
Yeah.
So I'd start from zero again. I hadn't sold on Zoom, not like it sounds, but like Zoom meetings and doing sales on Zoom and stuff. But like I started off doing like Facebook ads and that.
Yeah.
And
right.
For me, I think there's so many other businesses, I don't know what you think as well, but so many other businesses do the same thing as you do for me. And like, how do you stand out? Unless you've got a brand new idea, which is pretty much next to impossible these days. There is new products and services out there, but like how I wasn't able to stand out with the Facebook ads. I was getting a bit of money here and there, but nothing crazy. But then really,
it's tough to crack.
Yeah, the thing that made me realise when my friend Yoni from Cardiff was like, oh yeah, come on to Cardiff, let's have a chat. And he was like, oh, let's do creating content before. And I'd be with a business partner, but we do it ourselves and none of us are really good at it. We do it on our phones and stuff. Whereas he's like photographer, videographer. So like he does that. I do the social media, and then you've got a better quality service.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You stuck to what your strengths are, yeah.
And even though, I don't make all of the money, but you got per client, but you've got a better service, so more people want it, and you've got better relationships that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's just being able to build a team that's either better or able to do the stuff that you're able to do at a similar kind of level. So you've got more time doing the most important thing, which is running your own business.
Yeah, yeah.
Like focusing on the business, because at the end of the day, not that it's easy for me to sign a client, but it's easy to get somebody to sign a contract and pay the first invoice. But it's the hard work is when comes like the second month and the third month.
Yeah.
And keeping them happy.
Keep delivering that.
Because like a lot of people, and I think that's why so many people tried social media marketing, and that's the thing that I struggle to stand out with, is it's easy to sell someone the dream. Like it's easy to be like, this is what we can do, these are the results you're going to get, blah, 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 blah. Similar with your products as well. You can say these are going to be this, but if you've got a shit product, nobody's going to keep on coming back for more, isn't it? And that's why at the moment we've got clients that have been with us well over like a year and stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got that relationship where we're increasing packages, we're trying new things that like they obviously trust us to test, you know what I mean? Like AI and all that kind of shit. Because like if we didn't have the relationship, they wouldn't trust us kind of thing.
Of course.
So I think it's just
more of like a structured strategy sort of approach you've got there, and not thinking about long term rather than
I think
what's right for
I think it is long term, and say having packages that are affordable for businesses and it's good value for money to try and get people involved with.
Yeah.
And then they can see the results and think, oh yeah, fucking hell, that's actually decent. What else can we try?
Yeah.
And how can we evolve and how can we adapt over time? But yeah, I think it's just me finding people I can trust, but that's the hardest thing. I think
it's tough. It's really, really tough.
I was saying to you earlier that I think I've been very lucky having people, and I take it for granted, I think. Maybe a couple of things recently made me realise, but yeah, it's just having those people that you can trust and you can rely on to, not that they care as much as I do, but care a decent amount to want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think mentioned this to you as well. Not today. It was just maybe a few weeks ago, but I heard a really interesting one. Really made me think, because I don't think I'm a great people manager at all, and I'm definitely like that. But if you can find somebody who'll do the job even 60%, 70%, of the work that you do for the same role, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
You can't expect you to do everything you'll do. It's the end of the day, it's your business, your passion, it's your life essentially.
Yeah.
So you're going to put significantly more effort in. But yeah, so yours is kind of a structured sort of strategy approach, and
and that's
people
the
you
thing
trust.
that I'm still struggling with. Not struggling with, but I'm still in the process of it. It's like, say, I've got Yoni, who's a million times better than me at photos and videos. And then I've got Zishan, who lives in Dublin, but he's originally from Pakistan. And
Right.
he's amazing at like social media, like he does all the edits and stuff, and he's been scheduling all of the content and stuff for clients, which is a massive time thing off me. And then I can just focus on the ideas, the framework, new concepts and stuff. One thing that we're focused on that I was saying to you the other day is like street interviews and stuff. We've been doing a lot of like celebrity stuff that is great, like top of funnel content to get eyes on brands and businesses that people wouldn't maybe do themselves and stuff. And then I can just focus on that and like spending more time with the clients, you know what I mean? Having more like messages on Slack or longer Zoom meetings, or thinking more of what's next rather than just working in the business. Don't get me wrong, I still work in the business a fucking lot, but trying to have that structure.
It's really hard to find the balance, isn't it? Because there's a period of time, there always is, when you spot, and I still do it sometimes, and I've done it for a long time, where you kind of have to do everything. You have to balance everything. Like you'll be speaking, I'm sure you're the same, you speak to somebody and they'll go, "Oh, can I speak to your marketing team?" And you're just like, "Yeah, let me just put my other cap on. How can I help you?" There's a long period of time like that, isn't there? Well, it depends really, but then when do you take that leap? When do you go, right, I now need this person? And sometimes, to be honest, with others, it's too late.
Here.
Things have already got quite tough, but yeah, I'm probably the same.
Yeah.
Trusting people. Probably better manager, but I'll tell you probably the best thing I've learned how to manage my stress when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Because things have gone wrong quite a few times, as they do in all businesses. But, what you mentioned at the start, I am still very, very lucky if I have a problem, business related, sales related, I can lean on my father. And it is a fountain of advice there that I can get, which not many people do have. So I'm pretty lucky there too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, final section. What do you reckon your biggest mistake or biggest regret is, even in your personal business life? Have you already touched on it? Either or, or whatever. That'll be a fancy.
Probably the biggest mistake is exactly what you mentioned there, is not recognizing quick enough that I'm so focused in and so zoomed in on this business and growing it and doing everything I can with it, that I have not been the best at understanding other people's needs, whether it be part of the business or outside of the business, and managing people and helping them. I would say openly, honestly, we probably lost one or two people for that reason. Great people, no hard feelings to any of them at all, but purely because I'm so focused and so basically obsessed with it, which is not a terrible thing for the business, but from a management perspective, doesn't make it easy at all. Yeah, that's probably the biggest mistake I've made.
Yeah,
it's working on that, Adam.
I think it's important though, isn't it? Like, nobody is perfect, and having that self-awareness is probably the most important thing, isn't it? It's like, if you didn't realise that, then you'd be because like, say now, I'm always thinking like you say, Yoni lives in Cardiff and stuff, we're always thinking of logistics, and he's does his own thing as well, and you're thinking scheduling and clients, and you have to try and put everyone else's things first. And like, even if like Maha or Zishan and stuff, you're thinking, if you've got stuff going on, we can reschedule stuff or try and make them happy. So then hopefully they're happier, they'll work harder, or we'll get better results and stuff. So
you've got to try and deal with as much of the shit as possible, take as much of the stress and burden off of them as you can, with, while still having expectations of performance, whatever it might be. But
yeah, the respect, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then, what do you reckon your greatest strength is and your greatest weakness?
So I would say that's definitely my greatest weakness.
Yeah.
My people management skills. Yeah. And trusting.
Greatest strength then.
It's a tough one. You told me this would be a hard one as well, and I should have thought about it in that 5 minutes I took before the...
It's hard though, isn't it? Like, a lot of people do struggle to be like, oh, I'm actually really good at this. Whereas you're quite quick and easy to be like, oh, I'm rubbish at this, or I need to improve that.
Well, thinking on it now, probably I'm much better in front of people. When we come to these events, I would say my greatest strength is being able to talk to people on a personal level, sort of like understand what they need. When it comes to an event, I'm not really the guy we've taken, for example, my sister's fiance is a salesman through and taking him to events, and one of my old friends, he used to come and help us as well. And they would be able to really sell to people. For example, we're at the NEC. That's the one I do. What I tend to do is try and understand where they are, whether it's running, cycling, whatever, understanding what problems they're struggling with and what, if our range can help them. If there's anything here that I can help them with, I'd give them advice in person, not so much doing that. Good at doing that online. I'm probably a little bit too honest as well. Sometimes I'll say, well, look, if these things don't work for you, then there's probably not something in our range at the moment that's going to help you do what you want to do. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is selling in a way, but it's selling to people only based on what they need, understanding what they require. Yeah, so
I think that it's a difficult one, isn't it? Sales. I feel like there's two different types. There's like a salesman who tries to like trick people into thinking that this is what they need.
Sell soft sellers.
Yeah. Or there is, like you say, just if somebody needs something and you're just giving them the option saying, this could work for you, this might work and this might work. And you're just saying, you want this? Well, these are the options.
Yeah.
Buy it off me, that kind of thing. Because I still think I'm not a very good salesperson, but I think I'm a good marketer. I'm good at like showcasing things, and then hopefully that people will have already made a decision before they talk to me.
Oh, they understand the value from the quality of the marketing you do. Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because that's one thing I do regret. That could be one of my regrets, that I wish I did some form of sales training, or I worked for a big marketing company before. And got that sales experience. But
then, like you say, I don't know, you've got to be quite hardy as well to be a sales. Yeah, you need to get used to.
I think I'm maybe
people saying no.
Yeah. I think I'm just too like chilled and relaxed. You know what I mean? I'm not like, buy my shit. I'm more like, well, this is what we can do for you. If you want it, you should try. Yeah. If not, then that's fine. But yeah, it's just personalities, isn't it? I think that's the thing. Because I did a podcast recently with Scott Reynolds from Leach on New Car, and he was saying that he worked in a lot of car brands and dealerships and stuff, and some of them had like strict regimes of how you need to sell and stuff. And I think that's fine maybe when you're younger and like you're being molded or you're being taught how to do it. But when you get older, you've already formed your own style, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like if you were, say, our age or 30 or something, and you think, well, I've already learned how to do this.
Yeah.
Why is somebody telling me to do it different? It doesn't work like that. Some people are maybe like really not kind of confrontational. Some people might be more like chilled and laid back. I don't know. It's whatever works for you. But yeah, right. Where can people find you? Where can people follow you?
Yep.
Where can people buy your shit?
The important stuff.
Plug. Yeah, the plug.
Yeah, here we go. You know, you can buy all of our energy bars, gels. We've got protein powders as well. You can buy all that on our website, which is kendalmint.co.uk or .com. It's up to you. Or if you've got Amazon Prime, go to Amazon, find us. You can also find us on the likes of Mountain Warehouse and Decathlon online, and we have a little stockist map on the website. If you want to find a local shop, you can spy us there too.
Yeah. Nice. Right, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you listen on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. Any questions for Jack, leave them in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Bye.